Yo, welcome back to another edition of the Men Who Cry podcast. Like, subscribe, review, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. If you not do these things, I have to assume that you were the guy who got his glasses stolen at the No Kings protest and just got your ass busted on the side of the street. That was funny. On today's show, we will not be talking about that, but we will be talking about the sport of that guy on the shirt that he was wearing, which is a little bit of football, but a lot of baseball on this. With my guy again, Lane Reardon. How are you doing on this good Sunday, sir?
I am doing really good. I'm really excited about this baseball playoff so far, and that this World Series is about to be really good.
Yes.
So I'm really excited to cover all of it. Really excited to get into it.
Yes. Before we get into the baseball, yes. I have to talk a little bit. Maybe I'm going to start a segment. If I ever get a radio station, or if I eventually get enough followers for people who want to go behind the scenes with this, I really want to get enough followers to be able to do TikTok lives, right? Like, I want to have like a Monday morning TikTok live, and I really want to start like a therapy session for Jets fans. Y'all got to free yourselves, okay? This is coming from a Knicks fan who I went through the whole struggles. It was 20 years in the wilderness, right? But that same time, the Jets were like just as bad. So I thank God I was never on that narcotic. But they just lost again.
At least you weren't on both, you know? At least you weren't on both at the same time. You would have OD'd. You wouldn't be here.
I have a friend who was a Knicks, Yankees, Jets fan. There's actually a lot of those people out there. And he, because of some things that the Yankees might have done recently, I'll let your mind wander, decided to be a Mets fan.
Okay.
And I told him before he made that choice, I go like, listen, man, I care about your health way more than these teams winning. Oh, I'm just letting you know you're taking on the assignment of God's strongest soldiers. Because I don't know anybody in that zone who's like mentally okay. Like,
okay, so I have a thing with this. My partner, her dad played minor league baseball for the Mets, and he's not even a Mets fan. He's not a Mets fan because it's too much work. He's a Mariners fan, which is hilarious, but he's a Mariners fan. So it's just you trade one curse for another. But he couldn't do it. He was like, this is too bad. I can't. I have this connection. I can't do it.
And the thing is like, this is like bad. Like, I've seen the Jets be bad, but like I don't even know what to even tell people. Like, I keep watching them. I'm like, I feel like they have good players.
Yeah. So what's going on?
They're just. So basically, how I surmise is this: I'm truly, honestly, I think they have a bad coach. Like, I think now, not even in the NFL. Like, I remember a lot of people like to say, like, you got to give guys chances to develop, right? And I'm big on that, right? A lot of times, these organizations, they make decisions. You then can't just like a couple months later be like, this was a bad decision. We have to move off of it, right? However, I've for some reason watched a lot of the Jets this year, not like on purpose. They just happen to be on TV when I'm on, and they are so bad. Like, they do so many just like the game they played against not the Browns. The game they played against the Broncos last week.
Yeah,
that was the worst coach game I've ever seen someone coach. I've never seen it that bad. They botched the end of the halves both times. Like, it is, and that's the thing. But that's the thing too. The margin of error in the NFL is so much. You could just look at the Bears. The Bears are 4-2. They were so bad last year. They got in Ben Johnson. They have 80% of the same players, 75% of the same players, and now they look like at least they could make the playoffs at this point. Like,
but it is all
I am
like if
way
look
more
at the Commanders game. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Both ways.
But it's like
last year went one way.
It's such a mark. But even teams like the Saints aren't like that. Like, and that's the thing. Like, the Saints to me just don't have a lot of talent, right? But like the Saints are getting beaten pillar to post every week, and it's like, oh, this team just looks like they're terrible, right? Like, you're not going to beat always the good teams. But like, I think the thing is in this sport specifically, coaching and quarterback play are so important that you just can't. If you have a bad coach, you just got to get rid of them. And I really think the Jets have a really bad coach.
It sucks because coming into the season, I feel like vibes were kind of up randomly just because it was like, well, maybe Justin Fields is going to be good. And then you have week 1 and you have this performance versus the Steelers where they look amazing and they run the ball like through the teeth of that defense, just right up the gut. And Justin looks at least passable. And then every game since then, he's looked worse.
Dog. The Steelers had Justin Fields and they were 4-2 when he played. And then they got Aaron Rodgers, who looked cooked. And now he just threw 4 touchdown passes. Like, I don't think Justin Fields has 4 touchdowns on the season.
Oh, no. No way. Yeah. Not throwing.
Not
throwing the ball.
Like, dear God, they're bad. Oh, man.
Is there any way out?
Yes, fans, you need to leave. Like, I'm so serious. Like, just stop being fans. This has gone too far. In I guess in all reality, like, I don't even know. Like, I think you have to fire the coach. Like, it would be one thing if they were losing, but they were in the games and like, whatever, it was a play here, play there. Like, the thing I compared it to, or at least I thought it should be, is like, do you remember when Dan Campbell first took over and they started off like 0-6 or 0-7 or something like that?
Totally.
And like, they were losing games, but like they weren't getting smacked around. Like, they were losing by like a touchdown or like a field goal, or like, I remember one of the years they lost, it was when Justin Tucker hit that like 67-yard field goal. Like, that was just, that's just like life, you know what I'm saying? Like, some dude hit an incredible kick, you lost, right? The Jets look unwatchable at this point. So I really think it's like a Gerard Mayo situation last year with the Patriots. I think they hired the wrong coach, and I do not think there's any way that he salvages this season. They're not going to turn around and go, win 7 straight games. Like, I don't know, man. I don't think they have a bye in 2 weeks. It's so funny because they play the Bengals next week, and that's going to be a hilarious game to watch. But I just think that they are in such a bad place that I think that they have to fire the coach.
Last piece. Do the Jets win a game all season?
Yes. Yeah, they'll win a game.
Who do they beat?
They'll be 0-. Yeah, they'll be 0 like 13, 0-12, something like that. And then like because look, it's the NFL, right? You have good players. A team turns the ball over 3 times.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all it takes. So I absolutely think they're going to face a team that's like.
Is it the Browns?
You go ahead.
It's Cleveland at the Jets, November 9th. 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from.
I mean, they're coming off a bye. If they're going to win a game, it'd be that one.
Yeah. It's that or Miami. And if they don't win those games, I don't think they win a game all season.
When's the Miami game?
Miami game is in December, and it's in New Jersey.
Yeah, it's in New York, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, New Jersey. Yeah, I think they beat Miami.
Yeah.
It's fine. I mean, both teams might fire their coaches by that point, so you never know.
I mean, we saw today that the Dolphins can't play in cold weather, so they got obliterated.
Oh, no. I mean, that's been a thing since forever. So,
2 or 3 picks.
Yeah, exactly. Like, once the temperature gets, that's why I'm like, that Miami game to me, that's why I said, like, they're gonna win a game or 2. I think the difference between this year and like in years past when the Jets were like in pole position for the number 1 pick, there's not like this transcendent quarterback in college. It's not like, oh, we need to get person X, right? It's right now like the number 1 pick discussion is kind of all over the place on like who it should be. So maybe that helps the Jets fans not worry about that. You just worry about trying to win games. But my God, they are bad. Speaking of, not talking about the bad, but talking about the good. Switching over to baseball here. I cannot believe people still root for the Jets. We are going to be talking about the potential World Series champs, even though we don't have the playing field as of yet set. The Dodgers took out, and I mean they took out the Milwaukee Brewers in 4 games, capping it off with, and I feel pretty confident to say this, the single greatest game a baseball player has ever had. I don't think there's anything close to coming to this. Like, I can't think of one in a regular season or the postseason. I know we've had guys hit 4 home run games. Like, I know, like, Babe Ruth has hit a home run while he was pitching. We've had no hitters in the postseason. We've had perfect games in the postseason. What Shohei Ohtani did is something that we will never see again unless Shohei Ohtani does it again. Shohei Ohtani went 3 for 3 with 3 home runs. He walked once, and he had 10 strikeouts. Not 10 strikeouts for him. He struck out 10 people in 6 innings of work. Lane, my question to you is, 1, were you watching? And I guess secondly, is there even now a discussion that this man is the greatest baseball player of all time?
So yes, I was watching. I live in LA, so it feels like a requirement. Even if the Dodgers aren't my team, I was also taking so much fucking joy in watching that stupid Brewers team lose.
Yes, forgot the Cubs hate. The Cubs hate. Gotta let it come out. Yeah.
Hate that Brewers team. Not only because they beat the Cubs, I just despise watching games at that terrible stadium in Milwaukee. It just looks ugly, and I know I'm biased, but it just looks.
Are you Tyrese Halliburton level of hate? Because he is like a professional hater at this point.
I might be. Like I have been like,
there is that much.
I've been imagining, like, so I don't know if you saw, but after the NLCS, when the Milwaukee Brewers defeated my Chicago Cubs in 5 games in Milwaukee, they flew the L flag. After making fun of my dear Chicago fans and us flying the W when we win. Reportedly, nobody really wanted to touch it, and then Trevor McGill, who's that maniac reliever for the Milwaukee Brewers, decided to throw it up in the team picture. So
I wonder if he's Tyler McGill's brother. But McGill can be a common name. He's a pitcher on the Mets. That's why I was curious.
True.
But no, go ahead.
Good. I haven't heard of that guy, but I believe.
Oh, trust me, you shouldn't. He's not good.
Did he make it? Did he make it to the roster this year, or was he in the minors?
Yeah, he's been like a fringe starter. Like basically, if a bunch of people get hurt, he starts for us.
So basically,
but he gets hurt a lot.
Yeah.
So he's kind of just part of the problem at the end of the day.
Yeah, not a solution. Okay, so Trevor McGill flew the fucking flag, and my hatred blossomed, as you say, into a professional level of hatred. So watching them get dog walked by the Dodgers was pretty awesome. It was pretty good. It was a good feeling. It made me feel a little bit bad about my own fandom, just because it felt like this Brewers team got shown to be pretty fraudulent. They had like 15 hits in 4 games. They couldn't hit with runners in scoring position. They in the game you were mentioning with Ohtani, Ohtani kept them to 2 hits, which I think is such an insane metric to add to that stat line, is that he had more home runs that he personally hit than let up in that game 4, in that decisive game 4. And finally, yes, I was watching. It feels like a requirement living in LA to embrace the Dodgers a little bit, just because of how fucking fun watching Shohei is. And while they will never be really love, I don't know, there's just a certain level of NL hater in me forever. I am, begrudgingly enjoying watching the greatest player ever, period, play. I don't think that there's really a situation. It's the type of thing where you couldn't even come up with the situation necessary to describe what a player would have to do to be better. You said it was the greatest baseball performance. I would say it is the greatest sports performance ever. I don't think that there can really be an equatable situation in anything. no player has been that good at the two hardest things to do in sports, which are to hit a baseball and to pitch a baseball, as Shohei Ohtani. And also, on last little thing, the way he hit that, I think it was the third home run, it might have been the second. He hit it like 480 feet, or it felt like 500 feet. He hit it to that spot that nobody hits it to, which is by the Shake Shack at Dodger Stadium. You can't hit the ball to the Shake Shack at Dodger Stadium. The only guy who did it last year, I think in the last like 10 years, is Giancarlo. And now fucking Shohei did it in a game where he hit 2 other home runs. Yeah, I'll glaze until the day I die. This is the coolest thing to be alive and get to watch it's the coolest thing.
Yeah.
Were you watching?
So I was not watching. I was watching some of the highlights. I did pass by a bar where the game was on, and I saw the second one, and I was like, oh, damn. I did forget he was pitching, but I remembered because I remember they were going back and forth between Glasnow and Ohtani to pitch. Glasnow pitched the game before, and then Ohtani pitched the game after. But when I saw the stat line, I was like, I couldn't believe this. Talking Yanks, I think, or it's either Talking Yanks or Talking Baseball, one of the two accounts, just had everything he did consecutively. So like strikeout, 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 home run, strikeout, strikeout. Like they cut it up in a way where like what he actually did in the game. And like you said, right? Because baseball is so tough to affect the game, right? To game a lot, right? I remember I was watching The Shop, the LeBron James' show. This was when The Shop first came out, and I remember him saying that, like, because they were talking about the greatest athletes of all time, right? And they were talking about Tom Brady, and his point was, which I think is the fairest point, and I think it's always hard for me to put a football player or a baseball player in the greatest athlete of all time conversations, because you are playing one side of the ball, right? Tom Brady cannot make tackles. Tom Brady cannot intercept the ball. Tom Brady cannot force fumbles, right? He can only throw or run touchdowns, right? I'm not saying that's not a higher level of importance, right? Like, you'd rather have Tom Brady than not Earl Campbell, than Ed Reed, right? Even if Ed Reed's the greatest safety of all time, you would rather have the greatest quarterback of all time. So his position is more important, but the ability to affect offense and defense has to come into play when you're talking about, especially a team sport. The fact that Ohtani basically shows you that I can do it all in a single game is incredible. I don't think that it'll just depend how long he does this for, but at the same time, like, baseball is so in the numbers, and I think he is really the first guy that it's like, I don't care what the numbers say. He's the greatest of all time. Okay, even if he was just like a reliever, like, let's say he was just a closer, you would still be like, oh, that's incredible. You know, that he can just do that. This guy might win the Cy Young one day if he really is able to, like. To me, the only issue of him winning the Cy Young would just be, his arm hold up, right? He's already had Tommy John, which is just a basic requirement now to be a pitcher in the major leagues. I mean, literally, I think every pitcher who has played a significant amount of time, every pitcher has had Tommy John. It's just whenever your time is up. You know what I'm saying? And he's already had the surgery. He's going to be on the Dodgers for a long time. That's the thing. His team's going to be good, pretty much until whenever. I can't imagine a time where the Dodgers aren't going to be good anymore. And I just think he's going to have more opportunities to show us this, because baseball, unfortunately, doesn't allow its best players to be highlighted because, like I said before, you can only see them but so many times, and there's so many games. But games like last night in the World Series, where the Dodgers will obviously be playing, are moments where you can just see his greatness and just see, like, no, this guy is the best. We don't need to have this, like, sports talk radio conversation. This guy is the best right here, right now. The only thing that would happen is someone trying to do what Ohtani's doing now.
And the thing is, with Ohtani, with everybody that the Dodgers have, it kind of feels like there might not even Like it might not even matter which team gets out of the AL. I hope that isn't the case because I want to see a good series, and I'm very much rooting for the Seattle Mariners. But do you really feel that it will matter who's there?
No, I think that, and this will come out, and we will know our World Series matchup by the time this podcast goes. But I already know the World Series champion. It will be the Los Angeles Dodgers. I don't know how many games it's going to take, but it will be there. Personally, I am rooting for the Mariners to get there as well. My manager at my job, big Mariners fan. All my good friends from high school, or from college rather, big Mariners fan. I really would want them to see them get to the first World Series. They've never been. And so even if it's against this Dodgers team that, like I said before, I think that this team is going to be the team of what the Yankees were back in the 90s, of just running off World Series championships. This would be their third in 5 years, right? Because the 2020 one last year, and then potentially this one, so that's 3 in 5 years. That's not as good as the Yankees did, 4 and 5. But I mean, as of this moment, I felt whoever won the National League was going to win the World Series. So either the Dodgers were going to win it, or whoever beat the Dodgers in the National League was going to win it. Do you have? I remember there was Dave Roberts had a little thing about like they're ruining baseball. Do you feel like the Dodgers are ruining baseball, or do you think they're just kind of playing within the rules that are set for them?
I don't think they're ruining baseball. I think not only are they playing within the rules that they're set, like there's been periods of other teams that do this. Like the Yankees did this as you described. Like they might be the first team to win back to back since that Yankees team in 2000 or 2001, and like then they're not cheating in the same way that the Astros were cheating. They're just playing with the fact that their ownership group allows them to have unlimited resources, and so they have unlimited resources, and they make the best team possible out of that. I really understand how frustrating it is, because it's like, we have a couple of upcoming free agents, one from Korea, that third baseman, that hitter, and then another pitcher from Japan that are going to be posted by their teams probably. I think the hitter has already been posted, and it's a strong likelihood that they will be the front runners, because why wouldn't they be? And that sucks. That's a real bummer, and I would love for some more parity, especially in that. But I can't really blame them for playing within the rules. I think one interesting thing to note, even within that, is that they have, if it is a Seattle Mariners World Series, Seattle versus LA, they have the 2 highest rated farm systems too, which is just an interesting thing going forward. That's for Seattle. That's because they are able to process arm talent like it's the fucking easiest thing in the world. And for the Dodgers, that's because they spend more money on their scouting than any other team. So it's like they don't have to do that, but they get to, and thus they have this team that is just unbelievably nasty. I think that the feeling is relatable, especially as a fan, and maybe as a fan I feel some anger. Do you feel like there is really anything for the league to do about it, though, or is it just the cycle of sports?
I think it's the cycle of sports. I think teams dominate all the time. I think teams take advantages of rules that happen, right? To me, I will say this. I do think there should now be I don't know how else to say this without something, an AIPA, you know what I'm trying to say, a draft. Because clearly a lot of the talent from Korea or Japan is going strictly to, really, and that's the thing, it's really the Dodgers. It's not even it's going to the Giants, like a lot of the West Coast teams, right? Where you can even argue, I would say that's a little bit of an imbalance. They're all going to the Dodgers. And for me, I think that would be the one change I would put into it, just because the Dodgers and frankly every California team just have a significant advantage, because frankly a lot of the Japanese players and also the Korean players who come over here, they want to see their players play, right? The hometown team wants to see them play. And that is, I think, an unfair advantage for them to have. And because we now have a significant wave of this, and you're essentially just paying them whatever, like they're not in like a draft system. I think that should be the case. And this is also coming from someone who's very anti-draft, but I do think that like there needs to be some level of regulation on that, because you cannot just hoard the talent in that way just because your team is essentially where your team is located. Outside of that, I don't have a problem with anything the Dodgers do. Look, every team has an advantage. If you play in a big city, your team will more likely have a lot of money. If you play in a small town, your team will more likely be able to spend more money on analytics and be driven in that way, right? Like, you got to kind of make your lot in life of where you're at. And so, it's just, I also find it funny that it's like the Yankees are the ones like being like, this is unfair. I'm like, do y'all not know how y'all ran this for 20 years ago? They just y'all. And, I think that the level of just, I don't know, pettiness surrounding what they're doing is just kind of embarrassing, honestly. It's like, just be better, frankly. Speaking of the Yankees, though, I do want to touch on two things that are somewhat Yankee specific. The first thing, these are a little bit of a combination of a story, right? So, obviously, the Blue Jays put that BTA on them in the ALDS. Ooh, buddy. They got beat down. And this is now going on. I think this is now the second longest drought for World Series titles for the Yankees. 15 years. Or 16 years, rather. I think the longest was 17 years. They had the graphic up when they lost of the longest time. For them not winning the World Series. And, as obviously the most rational Yankee fans are, they're furious. They obviously want the GM fired. They want the coach fired, the manager fired. The same thing, yada, 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 every year, right? And obviously those things are going to happen. But my question to you is twofold. Should they happen? Should Cashman and Boone be let go? Either or. Probably if you let go of Boone or let go of Cashman, you have to let go of Boone. So maybe this is just should Cashman be fired, really? And secondly, what exactly is their methodology of remedying what happened? Because there is a guy who is set to be a free agent, not next summer, or next winter, but the winter after that, who reportedly is $250 million apart from his franchise in terms of what he thinks he's worth. So what do you think should be the fate of the GM of the New York Yankees?
If the Yankees' expectation is to win every year and you haven't won for 15 years, you got to let him go. That, to me, is as simple as it gets. If you have this expectation, if the owners have the same expectation that the fans have, which is to at least win once every, 10 years, more, and your guy can't get that done, then you have to send him off. Like, it feels simple. My thing with it is that I hope that he stays because I don't think he knows how to set a team up, and it's awesome. Like, as the opposite. I love this. It's the same reason why I want Aaron Boone there. Aaron Boone doesn't know how to fucking manage. Aaron Boone is not going to have another job after this Yankees job. He won't. Period. He won't. And I love that. So let him stay. I don't know. Let him stay.
Yeah, I guess that to me is the whole thing is like, why is this happening at this point? Like, we've seen them basically kind of never not be good, never not be bad, right? That's one of my main points of them kind of making the playoffs every single year. It's like, dog, you make the playoffs every year, and you've made the World Series, you made the ALCS multiple times. Like, it's not even the fact that they've been like, all right, we've been getting smacked in round one every single time. They've made it, but like, I look at someone as like the GM of the Phillies, right? If you look at his short tenure with the Phillies, it's the same as the Yankees. Got to the World Series, got to the NLCS, lost in the NLDS multiple times. Like, he hasn't jumped over the shark per se, right? And the Phillies, I would assume their fans are livid as well because, they lost again this year. And their core is much older than the Yankees. We're really only just talking about one player in Aaron Judge being like at the same age as most of the players on the Phillies. The Yankees are, but I also don't think I frankly don't think they're that good. The Yankees, like as a team, right? I think they have one great player. I think they have one great player. I think they have another great pitcher, but pitching can just be, you can have a great pitcher and then one year he just has a bad year. Or like this year with Garrett Cole, he tore his UCL, so then he now needs Tommy John surgery, right? But they have a bunch of just like, all right, guys, you know what I'm saying? Like Giancarlo Stanton, can only be the DH, right? He can't run. But they paid him so much money, he still smacks home runs, and then he does stuff in the postseason. Cody Bellinger was great for them, but are they going to keep him? Is he going to be one of their core guys? Jazz Chisholm is it's so funny. When they got Jazz on the team, I was like, there's no way this is going to work. I saw this dude in Miami, and he was always talking, and I know y'all don't like that. He had a 30 for 30 season, made the All-Star team, but he did make critical errors for them to lose the last game that they played. So I just think their core of their team is kind of flawed, to be honest. And I don't necessarily think that it should be I don't think that him not being fired should be not off the table, right? If you keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same results, right? And I'm not exact, but the I guess my counter to that, my push to that is just because you fire Cashman, and obviously Boone will get fired too. The replacement, now your expectation is to win the World Series. And it's like, okay, so just because you do that doesn't mean you're automatically going to win the World Series? No, I can see a world where they take a dip down, right? Because that means you have to get a whole new staff. Like, firing your GM is not as simple as I think people do it. So they're in such a quagmire of they win a lot of games, they are winning in the postseason, but they just haven't won the overall title. So I can't fully buy into the idea of get these dudes up out of here, right? Boone, I do agree. I just think Boone does whatever what the top tells him to do. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not necessarily super that they fire him, they're gonna get another version of him.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that it's gonna make any meaningful change. But yeah, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I just think that it's if you're looking at the teams, the team that they lost to, it's the way that the Jays are constructed, which is around a superstar. Very similar energy between Vlad and Judge, honestly. Obviously they don't play the same position, but there's they're similar styles of hitters. They're power hitters with pull. They have there's a similar energy there, and they're similar franchise guys too, where it's they're. When I think of the Blue Jays, truly in this modern era, it's just with Vladdy Jr. And when I think of the Yankees, I think of Judge now, anyways. And so I think there's a similar energy, and I think the one thing the Jays have done really incredibly is that they have pieced around the edges in a way that the Yankees just don't really think about doing. The way the Jays have picked up Lucas, that guy this year, they picked up Berger. They're adding around the edges in such important ways, and using the analytical side of the game to find advantages that it feels that sometimes the Yankees forget to do just because they have the money. And it's one of those big team, big brother energies where sometimes it feels like they just have just because they're so rich that they don't think about the ways that the little teams are able to create those competitive advantages. And by not thinking about it, they lose that advantage. And then I think, looking at the Mariners is the other example of this. The Mariners have built the best pitching staff in baseball, period. So it's the Yankees have gotten away from when watching those early 2000s teams where they were nasty, and then you'd get to the Mo inning, and then they would win, and it would be over in the 8th inning, as you would know it would be over. So it's they've gotten away from an identity, and I think that they feel a little bit lost in the way that these other AL teams, in particular this year, have, I feel really come around identities and come around players.
Exactly, yeah. And to tie back to what we're talking about, so the man, the myth, the legend, the man who's looking for his bag, Tarik Skubal, I believe, as of right now, I don't think it's even close, the best pitcher going in baseball. Even though, do you think he'll win Cy Young? Oh, I love watching him pitch.
Yeah. He won
it last year. Do you think he's winning it this year?
Yeah, he won it last year. Yes, I do. Period. Yeah, I think he is. Yeah. Who in the AL?
I think I think him and Skis are going back to back.
Yeah. My thing with the NL is that I don't like watching Skeens pitch as much, and it's just like.
You think Hunter Green wants it?
I would love if Hunter Green won. I love Hunter Green. I don't know. That guy's got so much fun energy. Like, yeah. I also kind of have a soft spot for that red.
I mean, listen, he helped them get to the postseason, and I'm big on winning, but obviously a pitcher can only do so much. But again, with Skis,
Skubal.
Sorry.
My thing with Skubal is that he's the most fun pitcher to watch, and he's the best pitcher. That's so cool. That never happens. Like,
exactly.
It's awesome.
Yeah, younger than you think. He's 20. He'll be
26.
26 going into this year, and then in his walk year, or the year that he'll be a free agent, he'll be 27. Which I feel like a lot of pitchers don't enter their walk year that young. Normally they're in their very 29, 30, right? So he'll still be pretty young when he gets there, and we all know who his agent is. Big Boris, and he's looking for the bag. So it looks like Detroit is in another situation where they once again might have to trade away their Hall of Fame pitcher. And we are in both the same age of when they did this for both Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer. So do you think, two-part question, do you think they... Go ahead, sorry.
No, you go. I just can't... It's disgusting to even think about that they would do it again.
I mean, it's on the table. They kind of have to do it because you're not going to get as much for him if they do have the deadline. And $250 million apart is not close. Okay, $10 million might be all right, we can work it out. $5 million you're not coming. Joel Sherman basically told you he's getting traded, and now to me it just comes down to where that's going to be, right? I don't think they'll let him walk. I don't think they'll be like the Angels and just let him walk. I do think that they will trade him. Is this the last ditch for the Yankees to kind of flex and be like, yo, we're doing this? Now, to be fair, they have been burned by this in the past. I mean, look at Juan Soto 2 winters ago, rather. Trading for Juan, he walked. Do you think Skubal is the guy that the Yankees should trade for? And do you think if they trade for him that they'll actually be able to re-sign him? Which is an insane conversation to have, that the Yankees might not be able to re-sign someone.
I think that the most likely landing home is actually the other team in New York. I think it's your Mets. I think that he fits as a need more visibly and understandably with that Mets team. And I also think that the Juan Soto part is such an interesting and intriguing aspect to this, because they didn't give up the most important players, but they did give a 4 or 5 player trade for Juan Soto 2 years ago, and that went really badly. Obviously now, looking back on it, they probably still do it again, maybe, but it's they got a rental, they got to the World Series, and they looked like idiots in that World Series versus the Dodgers. So it's I don't think that probably sits very nicely in the back of their mind when they're thinking about doing it again. They're going to be nagging. It's going to be Steve Cohen back there being I'm going to steal him. You think you got him, but I'm going to steal him. And so I feel it's more likely they let the Mets take the swing on the trade if the trade happens. The other opportunity, I think, is also it's so boring, but the Dodgers. The Dodgers have the farm system. If they want to trade for him, they can easily do it. Those are the two. I hope he stays in the AL. I think it makes it more interesting to have a really good AL pitcher and a really good, like the best AL pitcher and the best NL pitcher being in. I don't like it. I would rather have the more parity in that regard. Do you think that the Mets should be the leader to get him, or am I wrong?
So I think this will be, I think, the true test of what kind of owner does Steve Cohen want to be. So what do I mean by that? So David Stearns is our GM, right? President of Basketball Operations. And if you looked at his last couple of years, he has this fundamental belief of not paying pitchers. If you looked at when he first came on, the year that the Mets went to the NLCS, they had a bunch of retreads. It was Sean Manaea, it was Luis Severino, it was Quintana, David Peterson, who's been our pitcher for a while, but is like probably a 3 at the most. We just haven't done that. And then if you look at the season this year, he basically just brought all those guys back and just figured that Kodai Senga, who's another guy who they brought over, would be enough to be kind of the star pitcher. And their starting pitching collapsed. It completely collapsed. All right? Senga was so bad that it sent him to the minors. Peterson, after being an all-star, completely tanked and was just gassed. They had to bring up their 3 best pitchers just to keep it afloat. And their best pitcher, if they had gotten to the playoffs, would have been Nolan McLean, who made I think before that would have only made 10 or 12 starts. I think that, and the reason why I bring up Stearns and Cohen in this way is because a lot of what people were saying was Stearns wasn't the biggest fan of signing Juan Soto. It's not that he didn't like Juan Soto. It was just he didn't want to pay a position player who might at some point have to transition to first base. We can get into that later. And then at some point in that contract, it's going to be your DH, right? When that happens, I think is a kind of a touchy point of when he has to transition into that place. But even last year, he was graded as one of the worst right fielders in the league. And the Mets defense this past season, was bad. I think that because of how bad this season went, and obviously because Stearns isn't going anywhere, I think that I will agree with you. I think the Mets will trade for him. Because I think that Cohen is the kind of boss to be like, if I want it, I'm going to get it. And I think because they have such a need at the position, again, I think Nolan McLean might be their best pitcher as of today, a guy who's made 15 starts. You can't necessarily trust Kodai Senga. You don't know what you're getting with Peterson. And then Sean Manaea was just hurt and frankly awful, last year. I think that they are this was such an embarrassment of a season that they are going to trade for an ace. And the reason why I should say an ace is because Santi Alcantara's in the same situation. Santi Alcantara's the pitcher in Miami, won the Cy Young. He did win the Cy Young. I think he won it 3 years ago. Yeah, okay, yeah. Exactly. Didn't have the greatest of years, but he turned it around in the second half of the year. Very good pitcher, and he plays for the Marlins. He's not. We know the situation down there. And I mean, even this year, the Mets were very openly talking about them potentially trading for him in the season. Now, obviously, it never happened, but it's just a situation where you are hey, we need to fill this spot. You're gonna need at least one pitcher, if not 2, right? Even if you want to keep up the other kids that you have in Jonah Tong and Brandon Strout, which
it's
they pitched okay.
Random people. I know they're
that's
real,
how bad it got. They showed a stat in September of the Mets broke the record for the most used pitchers in a season. It was 46. It was just a 46. Bunch of random dudes. Oh my god, dog. It was one of the most frustrating things. Again, I feel like I said this on this pod before. This past month of August was the greatest offensive month the Mets have had in their history. Highest batting average, most home runs, most runs scored, most RBIs, less strikeouts. The greatest month ever. There were 6 games under 500. Like, it was not the hitting. You know? Like, I can see the games now. Losing 12-7, 11-6, 10-9. Like, you can't win games like that. And so, until they address, like, I think they're going to keep Diaz just because, I mean, at this point, Diaz might make the Hall of Fame. I think they're going to keep him. Bullpens are always, you can always figure out bullpens on the fly. I don't really care. Like, everyone always complains about their no one thinks they have a good bullpen. No MLB team's like, our bullpen's great.
I was sure the Cubs had a terrible bullpen the whole season, but we were like a top 4 bullpen. I was sure we were bad watching it. I watched almost every game, and I was like, this team sucks. Our bullpen sucks. Not true. Our bullpen was great.
Not true.
Yeah.
It's everyone thinks their bullpen sucks, right? It's just like in football. Everyone thinks their offensive line sucks. It's the same. Yeah. It's the same concept, right? It was just the starting pitching, and I don't know if you can get that many starters on the fly in one off season, but they're gonna try because you cannot miss the fucking postseason ever again. Ever again. God, that sucked. So yeah, I think Skubal will be traded. I mean, the Padres are just still the Padres, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's the team that it goes for. The team that once traded for Juan Soto.
I love that idea.
So
I think that would be a really good home.
Yeah, so I do think that Skubal and Alcantara will be traded. I think one of them will be on the Mets. But I will say though, because if you think about it, I don't think the Yankees will be in that pool just because if you believe Cole's coming back, you already have Schlittler, and Max Fried pitched pretty well for them. I know. Man, do you know about that football player where his name is spelled Kingger?
Fuck, really?
I swear to God, you look him up.
Is he a college?
I think he's still in high school, but he's like pretty good. Okay. He might go to a D1 college.
Yeah. Damn.
So I am just waiting to see what white announcer has to
that. Yeah.
sees the. I don't know if he's that good. You know what I'm saying? Like I think he is more name. This is more of a name recognition. You know what I'm saying? Like Shedeur Sanders, his name is better than his game. I think this guy's name is a little bit better than his game. So, yes, I think he is. Yes, so guys like that with them tough names, man. Have you been watching? Oh, this is another topic that I'm interested to hear your thing about. So, have you been watching the Fox breakdown with Kevin Burkhardt, David Ortiz, A-Rod, and Derek Jeter?
I have, yeah. My favorite moment, obviously, was Vladdy and Big Papi yelling Yankees lose at each other for 30 seconds while everyone looked angry. But yeah, I've been trying to watch some of it. It's a really good. I really like it.
So that's what I'm saying. It's odd because the standard for me for the long time obviously has been the inside NBA guys, Ernie Johnson, Shaquille, totally. Kenny and Chuck, right? And they have just been. I am very nervous about now their transition to ESPN and see how that goes. But I feel like people are always trying to create chemistry in that way, make these broadcast shows are a lot more about chemistry per se. And they have such good chemistry that I think we just don't look at it like that because frankly they're not doing every single game, right? And there's never going to be a big nationally televised or a big regular season baseball game that so many people are going to watch unless it's one of the big teams, Phillies, either one of the Yankees teams, Padres, Dodgers, Cubs. And so I think that they aren't going to get the same type of love per se that the Inside the NBA crew gets because there's less games and the games are somewhat more important. But I don't know. How do you feel about them overall as like a quartet performing together?
Awesome.
Also, shout out to Kevin Burkhardt, former reporter for SNY.
Hell yeah. Stuck with Tom Brady all season too, so that's gotta suck for him.
Oh God.
Yeah, the man's a demon in the booth. But on the opposite end, on people who are actually good at it, I think that there's a magical energy bringing together rivals who are definitely like probably hated one another, but had like such a camaraderie. Because that's one of those things with baseball. Almost no matter what the situation is. Let's say you get a single and you're running to first base. Around the base, you get back on first. You talk to the first baseman. Almost always. They're always talking. Like, what a weird sport where you're just hanging out with the other team like that. It happens every fucking play. You see it. So it's like, yeah, these guys probably hated each other and had this really fierce rivalry, but they also clearly have this level of respect and enjoy each other's company. So it just like creates the perfect environment where they are always going to be able to get under each other's like nerves, which is one of the keys of the inside the NBA is the way that like Chuck and Shank are able to annoy one another. It's like they have that, and that is the magical extra secret sauce. And I think Big Papi, they've kind of stumbled on the fact that he is just a fucking hilarious guy as well. So like that's just awesome. The more that he talks, the more I could watch this forever.
I always make the running joke. It's like Poppy's having a steel cage match with the English language, but I don't care. It is just
exactly.
It is so funny. My man's out here pouring vodka in water bottles.
Yes, yeah.
Oh man, shout out to Big
like
Poppy, man.
True.
Yes,
shout out.
That was hilarious. But yeah, that's all we have for you guys. Doing the pods. We probably won't do another one until the World Series is over. So Lane, let me hear your World. Yes, I want to hear your prediction first.
Okay.
And I will give mine. Who's playing in it? Basically, who do you think's gonna be playing? And how many games until the Dodgers win?
Dodgers over Mariners in 6 games. That's my
okay.
prediction. I think that the Mariners will have 2 games where their home run luck goes their way, and then they will have 4 games where they strike out a ton. And they will win the games where they can hit the long ball, and they will lose everything else.
Okay. This is tough. I have Dodgers Mariners as well.
Yep.
And I have it being the Dodgers over the Mariners in 5 games.
Yeah.
I just really think it's gonna be tough for the Mariners to try to keep that lineup down. I know, and that's the thing. Like, if Ohtani's woken up, then I just think it's gonna be tough to keep that guy from making his imprint in the series, especially the fact that he's now going to pitch as well. So, yes, that is my prediction. I have Dodgers over the Mariners in 5 games. And as I say this, it's going to now be the Blue Jays over the Dodgers in 2 games.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
which would be
that's all the time. Yeah,
that would be crazy.
There you go for the Dodgers. That would be crazy. But thank you all for listening to the Men Who Cry podcast. Lane, plug your stuff. Tell all the people where they can find you at and read one of the greatest writers in America right now.
One of many. One of many,
but one.
Yeah, but one. You can find me at my Substack, which is my name, Lane Reardon. I write about sports and culture there, and I've covered this baseball playoff pretty closely. Obviously, I kind of write from a fan perspective, so I write a lot about the Cubs, but I write about everybody. And yeah, check me out there, Lane Reardon on Substack.
All right. Thank you guys for listening to the Men Who Cry podcast. I'll talk to you guys again later in the week. Peace.